Okay, guys, there are some real underrated characters in this game. I mean, we could go on for literal years about all the characters who do not get the service they deserve. Some do, some don't. It's just the way the game is. But there's 8 characters that I've got here today that I do think are extremely underrated or undervalued. And we're going to talk a little bit about them. So if you like this sort of content, do make sure to hit that like button and maybe hit that subscribe button because it does help the channel a bunch. Right guys, so if we were talking about underrated characters, the first one that comes to my mind is Admiral Trench. Admiral Trench is underrated, guys. You cannot argue about it. Why is someone texting me when I'm trying to record? Admiral Trench is extremely underrated. Yes, he is underwhelming. That is true. You can be underrated and underwhelming at the same time. But why is he underrated? So Trench teams on defense, if you set the good team, I know it's high investment, but if you set it with Wat Tambor, with Django, with Newt, with Dooku, there's not many counters. The only real counters you can get is General Skywalker, but he's also being used elsewhere. And on offense, it beats Night Sisters. You can beat any GL and cleanup. You can use it to beat Jabba. This is a one-shot, guys. We've done it before. We've done it in TW. We've done it in GAC. It can be used to set up 2 shots and other characters as well. It's just a really nice character to have. And honestly, I wish I had had him sooner. So Trench is definitely in there, guys. Now the second one is actually going to be Sion. I feel like Sion is just ignored a lot in the Traya lineup. Everyone goes, oh, just get Traya, just get Nihilus, and then Sion's just left on the bench crying. And I don't know if I agree with this, guys. So Sion is a really, really good character. In fact, he's kind of what makes the team function the way it should do. So it's all because of his Lord of Pain unique. And what this is going to be doing is it gives him 100% defense, 100% tenacity against enemies of pain. And then on top of that, if we look at his Held by Hatred, that's also going to be giving him 100% defense. So this guy just goes crazy. He gets the 200% defense. And then if you start stacking Datacrons on top of this, he just becomes so thick, guys. Sion is really, really good. He has the pain mechanic, which helps Darth Nihilus. He then has the taunt. He has all of this stuff. And his taunt is more or less permanent. It just depends on when you get out the pain. That's the only problem, guys. You have to get pain out super quick, which is why some people actually mod Sion to be quite quick. So he goes in, he puts pain out, and then he kind of sits on the back and just takes all the hits. And he will take him a lot because he's got so much defense, he's got so much health, he's got so much everything else. He's also got the revives, which is the same as Reavers. It does revive unless you insta kill. However, you do need to note that his revive, he can re-trigger, and he just keeps on reducing cooldowns, so he just goes crazy. Really, really good character. The next one is actually Cassian, guys. I feel like Cassian is a good character who is overshadowed by others. What I like about Cassian is his kit is just so strong, guys. So we have the shock grenade, which is going to be inflicting exposes. You're going to gain turn meter for each debuffed enemy. It inflicts healing immunity, offense down, speed down. You also have his basic, which inflicts buff immunity, and then you have crippling shot, which then puts every existing buff on the board on the target enemy. He's just really, really good for utility, guys. You can use him in a Mothma team, you can use him in an Adrad team. He just works really, really well. I'm a big fan of Cassian, guys. I think he's extremely underrated. He's great for cleaning up Jabbas. If you have lower gear, you can bring him in, and it's a lot easier to get around Jabba, for example. Next, we have Arc Trooper, guys. Of all the clone troopers, I feel like Arc Trooper is the one that does not get the recognition they deserve. Arc Trooper is so good. They have really high offense. Their turret does a lot of damage. Their turret's also a dispel. And what people seem to ignore is, say on, I don't know, General Skywalker versus Malgus, is very nice to have Arc Trooper because he is going to be removing the taunt from Malak, and basically Malak gains it back because he's getting critted. But by removing and reapplying it, Malak is going to be gaining more buffs, meaning Malgus gains more buffs, meaning Gas gains more offense, right? We know how this works. Every offense is 2%. Every buff is 2% offense. But yeah, Arc Trooper is really, really nice for this reason. Arc Trooper also just works really well in general. I'm telling you guys, their turret does so much damage, and they are an R8 requirement because of Lord Vader. So if you've done Lord Vader, you're going to have a good Arc Trooper, and the guy hits hard. Really, really good character. Next, we couldn't have an underrated character list without our boy Young Han. Now guys, I know some of you still aren't on the hype train, and I know I do have him R9, but this guy is underrated. Now, he, for starters, is needed at Relic 5 for TB. He's needed at Relic 9 for TB, but a lot of you aren't going to do that. And he can beat good teams. We've used him to beat Malgus, we've used him to beat JML, we've used him to beat any bounty hunter team. He does function. The thing is, you have to have good mods. And I'm not saying you have to have god mods like me, where you got like almost 300 speed and you got an offense set. But you do need him to have good mods, guys. We're just talking decent speeds, maybe like, I don't know, 250, 260, actually putting on offense mods like 6 dotting, you know the drill. But he does perform well. So if you're someone who's done him for TB, maybe to R5, maybe to R7 for platoons, don't just leave him on the bench. He's not a bad character, and then you can use other characters elsewhere. He does work really well, especially if you have the Dash Omicron and Vandor. He does things, guys. I know I do this for content, and I know I love the guy for content, but he does have a place in this game, and too many people ignore it. Really, really good character. Then we have Barriss. I think Barriss is extremely underrated, guys. The heal, the cleanse, the turn meter gain on her. It can be a nightmare to deal with if you're not prepared. I just think there's a lot we could say about Barriss, but to keep the video short, we're not going to say anything. But Barriss is really good, guys. Don't ignore her. She has her place. Jawa Engineer, guys, they are underrated for one reason. If you're a Jawa lover like me, Jawa Engineer should be fast. Now, not as fast as I have them. My Jawa is 315, which is pretty fast. Not everyone's going to have that luxury. However, if you can aim for around about 250 to 275, which would be around about 100 to 115 speed mod set, right? Something like that. Then Jawa Engineer is going to be about 300 to 315 speed. And here's the thing, guys, they're gaining it through their unique, and if Jawa Engineer goes first, typically your Jawas are going to win. I mean, you would have seen it in a recent Grand Arena. We used our Jawas to beat more Mandos. Now, that did seem crazy at the time. The stats actually show that it can work pretty consistently, but it's all because of Jawa Engineer. Really good character who shouldn't really be ignoring. And the final character in today's list is actually going to be Stormtrooper. They have a little bit of the Sion effect here, guys. Ignore the mods, they just have random mods on here because, hey, it happens. But if we go to the unique, they're gaining 40% defense for each living Empire ally, and then they gain 40% offense for each defeated, which doesn't really matter. But the Zeta is now nice for the Imperial Remnant allies gain protection up, which is not bad. While he's active, Imperial Troopers have 30% defense. That also includes himself. And at the start of Stormtrooper's turn, we know about that. But he's just nice. He's going to be giving himself loads of defense like Sion. He's a tank. You can run him with Lord Vader. You can run him with Iden. You can run him with the new Moff Gideon. You can run him with the current Moff Gideon. You can run him with Veers. Like, you can run him with anyone, and he just will slot in there. He's a good tank to have. Definitely underrated. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing. It does help the channel a bunch. And let me know down in the comments, guys, are there any characters you think I missed off this list? My name is Glurmit, and as always, guys, have a glurmin' day.